In the name of Amen the Supreme, the All Powerful, the one and only true Lord, and Amen we trust as the Republic of Mentellect. The true 144,000 is being gathered in this day and time, the Mentellians. Benzeka Aminun to all of my Mentellian brothers and sisters out there, registered members of the Republic of Mentellect, and to all future registered members of the Republic of Mentellect who are becoming part of Amen's covenant, which is Amen's covenant. I send greetings out to you. I send peace out to you in our Mentellian language by saying to you, Benzeka Aminun. Good evening. I am your host, the intellectual Nuben Menkares, and this is Mentellect Radio. And tonight we're going to be discussing the Earth. Is a government set up here, or is this a tribal planet? Is Earth a governmental or tribal planet? Well, you might be surprised at this answer I'm going to give, and that is that every country, every nation on this planet is tribal. They're not governmental. They try to establish a governmental order or structure, but it's really not governmental at all. How you know it's not governmental is because one true government is just that, one true government. In other words, it's only supposed to be one order on Earth. There's not supposed to be countries, continents. It's all supposed to be one thing. Let me explain what I mean by that. You see how I'll use this as an example. When the white man was showing you people coming from other planets, right? Like, I'm going to give you Superman, right? The people on Superman's planet were what? They were Kryptonians, right? That's it. The planet Krypton, Kryptonians. The whole planet was Krypton, and the people were all Kryptonians. It wasn't no, oh, we Kryptonians over here, oh, we Meldekians over here, oh, we this over here. No, it's one thing. That's how it's supposed to be here on Earth. There's supposed to be only one government, one name for the whole planet, one people for the whole planet. That's really how this is supposed to be set up. All these different names, North America, South America, Africa, Egypt, all this, that's not how it's supposed to be at all. Not at all. It's supposed to be one order, one structure. And again, the people that set this up here first was our people, the pyramid culture, the serpentine culture, right? We set it up here first. This is why, if you notice, all throughout the ancient world and established societies and governments that our people put up, that the white man tries to hide, you've seen heavily the serpent and the pyramids from South America, what is now known as South America, what is now known as North America and Egypt and certain parts of Africa, China, all over the planet. Because that was the ancient one world government being set up. That was an ancient one world government. When you start seeing all the same symbols, that's a sign of an ancient one world government that was being set up in the past with our people. See, a lot of our people don't think that they were that advanced in their way of thinking. But I told you before, everything you see the white man doing in this society, in these societies here, are reruns of what we did in the first part. We just were a little more primitive with it, meaning prime and, a little, first with it, and it was perfected or smoothed out with the so-called white man. And he's still trying to perfect and smooth it out as the Amen beings are giving them the transmission and the telepathic communication to make this a one world order. Why do you think the governments keep talking about a one world government, one world order, one world religion? Why do you think they're doing that? Why do you think they're talking like that? Because in all actuality, that's what it's supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be just one people. One people, that's it. Not no multiple people. Not no multiple borders and people living in different places. That's not how it's supposed to be. Right? I said before, if people are saying this is supposed to be, the so-called everybody's supposed to be human, then this is supposed to be planet human, not planet Earth. It's supposed to be planet human, where the humans are. It's supposed to be planet human, not planet Earth. And you refer to those people when you talk about planet Earth as Earthlings, right? Or they supposed to be referred to as Earths, a race of Earths. If you coming from Earthians or whatever you want to refer to, if you come from the planet Earth, it's supposed to be one race of people, one government, one society, one higher order. And that's what it's going to become again over time. Over time, this is going to become one society. Again, I got to use the example of the Superman thing. I use this because the white man. The reason why I point to the white man and his movies because he knows deep down that's how it's supposed to be. Remember when this in the Superman movie 2013 with the second one I think where uh um General Zod he wanted to put Krypton down on Earth, right? And all the Kryptonians were going to be reborn on Earth. It was only going to be a planet Krypton, and they were going to be Kryptonians. They want to restructure Earth like Krypton, right? And they was going to get rid of all the humans, and they were just going to make this a habitation for Kryptonians. Now I'm pretty sure they wasn't going to be like, oh, you going to be this over here, you going to be this. No, they're just Kryptonians. That's it. That's it. Ain't going to be no different tribes, no. Because see, all that different names and different languages and different countries. No, it's not supposed to be like that. That's confusion. That's chaos and that's confusion. It's supposed to be one language, one Most High, one Creator, one nation of people, or one planet of people, one planet of people, and that's it. That's it. And that's again what this is going to turn into, really. Right? I'm going to make a little bit of a prediction. Bear with me on this prediction I'm going to share with you. After the white man mixes his seed into the so-called black race and the Asians to mix their seed, and then eventually over time they're going to leave the planet and go to Mars, the remnants of that seed are going to be mulattoes, and it's all going to be just bronze people and mixed bronze people on the earth. And over time, the mixed bronze people are going to blend in with the full-on bronze people, and it's going to be one planet. It's going to be one planet, one name, one people. That's it. But before that happens, the mixed race bronze people, which carry the seed of the so-called white man and the other races, the humans, they're going to rebel. They're going to still have the seed of the humans within them, and they're going to rebel against the higher order that's going to be reenacted, rebooted, right, regenerated through the full-on Mentellean order, rebooted through the full-on bronze race, the brighter bronze race. They're going to rebel because, again, they're going to have that seed of that spiritual seed still in them, and that has to be bred out of them. That's why, again, the white man, he said in the future, he said, like I said, everybody's going to be mixed race. Or at least he's going to have a big segment of the people. Ain't going to be no more white, black, and everything because that's moving more. They're trying to move by way of Amen toward one world planet where everybody look the same because that's being really directed by Amen. But Amen told the elect to separate and not be a part of that because Amen wants to keep the pure seed. Amen wants to keep the pure seed and wants it to be regenerated and re-strengthened. So we are not to tie into the vine of this human melting pot, as they call it, where we mixing in with other races. It's supposed to be the elect is supposed to be coming out of the so-called black race, and they're the ones who are not going to mix their seed, and they're going to be amongst each other, and they're going to be the leaders of tomorrow, the future, or the last, the pure seed, and the next seed to come that's going to be regenerated. And those of the mixed seed, they're going to be beneath or on the lower level until they are mixed back in down the line into the bright race or into the full-on bronze race, right? But there's going to be chaos on the planet. I'm speaking futuristically. There's going to be chaos on the planet before this one world order, this one world planet is set in motion. You understand? Before this is planet Mentel and this is the Mentellians. This is going to be problem, down the line because of human interference. And that's expected. That's expected. But like I said, this idea of a one world order, a one world government, that's not coming from the white man. That's coming from the Amen Binks because that's how they are. They wanted one planet for one people, and they were trying to work toward that. But because they created the human race, and the human race got mixed in with our people, that caused confusion, right? And that created all these languages because each race within the human race, right? They're supposed to serve a purpose. They're supposed to serve a purpose. Each race within the human race is supposed to serve a purpose, right? Certain people are supposed to be of that mixed seed of that of that seed, I should say. Like certain races within the humans were created to do certain jobs, right? They were created to do certain jobs, and that's it. They were just created to do certain jobs. But the higher order was supposed to come from the bronze race, the ones who were giving all the orders to the people on earth. We were supposed to be the ones that have been the judges and the lords on earth, to oversee everybody on earth, from the so-called white man to the so-called Arabs, the East Indians, all these people, where they were supposed to perform certain works. That's it. That's all. And wasn't supposed to be no mixing in, as I said before. But because that ended up happening, right? Because that ended up happening, because people broke the law and started doing certain things and whatnot, getting messages crossed and whatnot. Now everything has to be put back on and put back intact again. Certain things have to be put intact to where there is one governmental planet, one world order, a real one world order. You understand? One governmental planet, one world order. You understand? Earth is going to be, as they say, terraformed into this. Within that movie they said terraform is going to be transformed into this. That's really just saying the terrain, everything on it is going to be transformed, terraformed. Terra is another word for terrain, or territory, or the earth. It's going to be terraformed, being transformed. And you're looking at that right now. Again, this is by the orders of the Creator, the Most High. This is by the order of the Most High, by the way of the Creator, that these things must be done, that this transmission must take place. Where, being that we are in a solar system, right, solar beings must control everything within this system. Right? Solar beings must control everything within this system. And this is what we come into. Again, the tribal planet, the tribal dialects and all this, again, that represents confusion, chaos, right? Babel, confusion of faces, confusion of tongues. Even here in the society, right, in America, where did they get their governing body from? They took from the so-called Indians certain things. That's why you notice the so-called president, what is he called? Commander and what? Chief. Chief. What the Indians call lay leaders? Chiefs. So they got that from the so-called Indians, chief. You understand? Commander in chief. And the flag, I think one of the flags, one of the seals, they have Indian. They have arrows in some of the seal of the government. Again, denoting contact with the so-called Indians, who were tribal people, right? Even the states, the way they were set up in the beginning, the states were set up as tribal entities. The different states. Why? Because if you notice, the states, they have the right. They tell them they got the right to succeed from the union, right? They got the right to succeed from the union if they want to, and be their own autonomous country or state within the country. They had the right to succeed from the union, right? They had the right to do that. So what was that promoting? Tribalism. And in the beginning, that's really what it was. That's why different states, and they still got this tribalism thing. That's why if you notice, and it's still left there. What do they say? Different states got different laws. Different states got different laws. You could do one thing in one state, but in another state you can't do that. That's a form of tribalism, because if you're really one government, it's all supposed to be the same all over the place. All the laws are supposed to be the same. There ain't supposed to be you got different laws over here, but then you got different laws over there, but then you got different laws over here, but you got that's tribalism. That's tribalism, right? It still exists. It still exists, and it's going to go back to that, pretty soon, where everybody's going to come from up under the federal government. Because again, that's why it's called federal government, because the federation or the confederation holds all of the states together, right? Because without the confederation or the federal government, right, that means all the states could just come apart. It's not supposed to be different. It's not supposed to be different police forces. It's all supposed to be one federal police force all over the country. That's how it's supposed to really be. And they're supposed to set the model. If they say that you saying it's the United States, United States. You understand? It's supposed to be the United State of America, not the United States, not multiple, not plural, singular. The United State of America. Notice they say states. What are the states? The states are tribes. The states are tribes. They're not supposed to be like that. You understand? They're not supposed to be states. It's supposed to be United States of America. You understand? One police force. But they've been trying to work on this. Right? The Illuminati and the elites, they were trying to work on this. That's why they set up something like they call Interpol, right? Where they got the international police. They're trying to get it to work together and whatnot, but it's still chaos and confusion. They're still trying to push the one world order. The only ones that could really push it together is the so-called Illuminati, the elites, because they control the banking systems, and they can, get certain countries to join the union, right? Join the union, or where it should be supposed to be a planetary union, but they're not there yet. They're not there yet, right? They're not there yet because there's still different language barriers. There's still chaos and confusion. But see, America was supposed to lead everybody there. America was supposed to lead everybody there. Why? Because, like I said before, the real language that is prominent on Earth is English. English is the most prominent language on Earth. I said that before because wherever you go in the world, you will find somebody that speaks English. You can't go and find somebody that speaks Hebrew or German or whatever different language, but you can definitely find somebody in wherever you go that speaks English. Somebody's going to speak English. Why? Because America was meant to be the poster society for that one world order. America was meant to be that. That's why when the white man goes over to different countries, what does he do? He plants his flag there and he puts his businesses there, Burger King, McDonald's. He brings the Coca-Cola over there. Because he's trying to promote that American pop culture. Because they want all of these countries to really be up under America and follow the American pop culture. And this is basically pushing everybody into socialism to become one order, one government. Basically govern the same way. That's how they're doing that. That's how it's really supposed to be. But it's not the white man who's supposed to be in charge of that. Remember when they had even then when they brought together the United Nations, right? They had that was the whole point of putting together the United Nations, which was called the League of Nations in the beginning. The whole thing of the United Nations was to bring about the one world order. That was supposed to be what it's supposed to, and the banking systems, the banking families would control the whole planet through the United Nations. That's how it's supposed to be set up. You understand? That's how it's supposed to be set up. They were supposed to be controlling everything through the banking system, through the Federal Reserve, or the international, aka the International Monetary Fund, right? To control the whole planet through the United Nations. You understand that? One world order, one world government. But again, that's what the almond beings ultimately want. They want one planet, one nation, one planet. And see, again, the white man knows that's how it's supposed to be. He knows that's really how it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be no multiple languages. It ain't supposed to be no multiple cultures and multiple races. It ain't supposed to be none of that. And so now he's obeying the order, right, to phase out all these different races. That's why when I said you see the white man pushing the so-called with the so-called black woman, right, and making mulatto children, right, and the Asians on them because they got no other choice because Almond is either going to Almond's going to discontinue their bloodline if they don't anyway. Almond's going to discontinue their bloodline anyway if they don't do that. You understand? So they're really being sent out that order to get with the so-called black woman and mix their seed. But to those so-called black women who are the bright race, they're not supposed to be part of that melting pot. Those black women those black men who are in that state of darkness, they're going to be part of the melting pot. to mix their seed out of existence and become that one order. The ones that's what Amen's going to allow to happen to those who are not receiving that transmission anyway. He's going to allow them to mix their seed out of existence, right, and become that one order, and then it'll eventually be mixed back in down the line in the future. But that's what's supposed to happen. This is supposed to be a planet of the Amen being, a planet of the bronze race. That's what this is supposed to be a planet of. And all the rest of the humans are supposed to be dissolved into that Amen race over time. They're supposed to be dissolved into it. In other words, that's their way of discontinuing the so-called human race, because over time the so-called humans are going to be discontinued anyway, and they're going to, and the remnants of them are going to go to, like I told you, to the planet Mars. And basically, they're going to do what they did. They're going to be used to restart their planet. They're going to be used to basically restart the planet, because the humans were meant to be caretakers, workers, right, to caretake and restore the planets by the orders of Amen. They were sent these telepathic transmissions, which carried technology on how to caretake the planet, where to look into the ground to find certain resources, to build certain things, to do these things. This was orders that were being given. You understand that? Well, we received the orders first, and now they're starting to receive the orders, but now everything has to be put on track, because this planet can't go on as it is with this burst of solar transmission that's going to come. So in order for it to terraform, certain people have to be phased out. Certain people have to be phased out. This movie that's coming out, the Marvel movie where Black Panther, this new one is coming out, where you're going to have this alien, this person coming from another world, right, to get the, I think he's coming from another world. Those of you know that Marvel movie that's coming out. Again, I point this because the white man knows it's about to happen. Infinity Wars, right? Now, Infinity Wars is coming out, right? They show you this villain is supposed to be coming from another planet, and all of the heroes are supposed to fight this person. And through this Infinity War, some of the Marvel characters are going to be wiped out, and new ones are going to evolve or come out, right? This is a ode to what's going to happen on the planet, where the Amen being are going to send this transmission here, or going to appear here in the vessels of the elect. They're going to appear here. They're going to transmit communication, and some of them are going to step into the vessels of the elect, and they're going to transmit power here to wipe out most of the humans, right? And redesign or mesh the so-called humans into the Amen seed or the Amen genetic, and get rid of the rest of them. Because again, this planet is supposed to be for one group of people, one race, the Amen race. The Amen race, the first ones who walked here. That's why, again, what did the white man, again, pointing to this thing again, in 1968 to 1971, that's the time where the comet Bennett, about 69 to 71, that's the time in which the comet Bennett streaked across the sky. Y'all look this up when y'all get a chance. The comet Bennett, it streaked across the sky, and they talked so much about this comet, right, and how, you know, they made so much importance out of it, but a lot of people didn't understand what the point of the comet coming into the Earth's atmosphere was. And that comet was basically being utilized to transmit telepathic communication onto the planet, right, as it was passing through the Earth's atmosphere. It was transmitting telepathic transmission, along with the projection of sunlight that was coming here that was sending messages. This is why, if you notice, during that time, there was a heavy change in the culture and the way of thinking, especially of our people, right? Notice everybody started getting more and more natural, and everybody was wearing their hair natural, and it started getting a stronger transmission here, right? And in that happening, you had, remember J. Edgar Hoover said, oh, you know, we have to watch out for the rise of a black messiah. He said that around that time, right? And then you had our people rediscovering themselves, who they were. You had them rediscovering themselves around that time, and then also the white man made the Planet of the Apes series. See, all of these thoughts were transmitted into the minds of people because what you were seeing were things to come in the future. When he made the Planet of the Apes series, he showed you what? A planet of so-called apes, right? Speaking one language, one people, a planet of apes, right? The whole planet was ruled by apes, and the so-called white man, his kingdom, his societies came down, right? These apes were civilized. They wasn't fighting with each other, nothing like that. They were highly intelligent and things like that. And the white man, his society, America fell down. The Statue of Liberty was in the river. All the ancient societies, which America was considered ancient society at that time, all these societies and kingdoms came down. It was just all the apes there. What do you think they were talking about? Who was supposed to be the apes? The so-called black people. Because I said before, the Planet of the Apes movie was originally from a Star Trek. It came from a Star Trek episode from Gene Roddenberry, right? The guy who created Star Trek. He did a Star Trek episode which used to be on NBC, the series of Star Trek with William Shatner, where he showed where they went to. Captain Kirk and them went to a planet, right, where all black people was in charge of the whole planet, and white people was like subservient. They were the servants and whatnot, and they were the it was in reverse, right? But then they didn't want to show that because this was around the time black people started waking up gradually. So-called black people started waking up, so they didn't want to put that in the minds of black people. So they did that so they scratched the whole black people doing that, and they turned it into apes. Because, again, what they refer to black people as monkeys and apes, right? They call us monkeys and apes. And then they came with the Planet of the Apes series, right? The apes ruled the whole planet, Planet of the Apes, and the white man was running around in caves like a caveman again. This is the future. That's the future. You understand? That's the future of what's going to happen. I'm telling you. They already know. They already know that this is supposed to be a planet for the first people that walked here. And again, what does the white man say? They say Planet of the Apes. Now, what do they call the apes? They call the apes primates, right? Primates, primal mates, or the first mates. Primate means first mates, the first people to mate here on the planet. That's what primate really means, right? The prime were the first mates on the planet, in other words, the first man and woman on Earth. Who was the first man and first woman on Earth? The so-called black man and black woman, the bronze man and bronze woman, the prime mates. You understand? But they tried to turn it into some ape and gorilla nonsense, right? That's what they tried to turn it into. So if you're saying that the apes were the prime mates, meaning they were the first ones on the Earth, aka the first black people on Earth. I'm not saying so-called black people was gorillas and monkeys and all that. That's some nonsense the white man saying. There was no gorillas and no monkeys. They was just saying the almond beings were the first ones on Earth. But like I said, the white man didn't want to say that, so he just came with that slur that, basically referred to you as an animal. You understand? So he's basically showing you in the Planet of the Apes, right? He was showing you in the Planet of the Apes. He didn't say the Society of the Apes. He said the Planet of the Apes, the whole planet, not the society, not to make it think like, oh, it's just one society of many. No, one planet. You understand that? One planet. To show you that these prime mates, these people, these prime couples that were on the earth were not them. And that it would eventually, the ruling body of the whole planet would go back into their hands again. That's what they're showing you. Now, why again in the millennium did they remake this series? Why did they remake this series? Because they know it's coming to that time again. They know that time is going to come again. They know it. This is all the signaling. When you see the white man making certain movies like this ain't about money anymore. I told you that. This is all about messages. He's signaling a time the Amen Bing are putting it in his head to make these movies and signaling a time to prepare your minds for what's going to happen. You understand? You're going to see the humans go out of power. The humans' governments or their tribal systems that are fronting like government, their false governments are going to come down. And the real government is going to come up. The real planetary government is going to come up. All these false governments, a.k.a. tribal societies, because that's what they are. They're not governments, not for real. They're tribal societies. The white man was trying to make it into that because, again, if you notice, you ever see the symbol that the white man has where and this guy Montel Williams, he had it on his show, where you see the pyramid, right? And inside the pyramid, they got the flag, the American flag inside the pyramid. The reason why they did that is because they wanted America to follow the governmental setup of ancient Egypt. They wanted them to follow this governmental setup. And it wasn't even so much about ancient Egypt. It was a planetary setup of the ancient world, the serpentine government, pyramid and serpentine government. They wanted that set up again. See, because that setup lasted for thousands of years. You understand? Until the so-called white man and all these other races, the humans came out of the caves or came out of what they call Eden, right? Where they were being bred in mountains. Because, again, the Adam and Eve story is actually a caveman and cavewoman story. That's what the Adam and Eve story really is. Walking around naked, putting on leaves and all that naked. That's the caveman and cavewoman story. That's really, that's the truth. But they try to clean up the Adam and Eve story. They try to make it all nice and melancholy, but that's really the story of cavemen and cavewomen that were people that were bred in caves. And, made in water, bred in caves, I should say. To live in caves, live away from the governmental setups and the ancient societies of our people that we had structured. You understand? Now, again, to a lot of our people, they don't think this is real because you're looking at how we are right now. You're looking at us in the state we in right now, the so-called white man. And like I said, understand that being that we were the first ones here, and we being the first ones here, we had to be the first ones to set up society first because, again, the white man follows what we do first. He follows out what we do first. These societies and these governments you see are nothing but reruns of what we did in the ancient world. The prime movers and the prime shakers and the prime structurers of ancient societies, of real society, but they don't want you to know that. They want you to still think that you come from tribal systems. Now, there was tribal setups in certain places. There were tribal setups, but those were like obscure places. And when the governmental setups would go, and go into different societies, we would structure government and setup and whatnot and structure that in those people. We would structure that. We would take the land and structure it and whatnot and make it a governmental society. That's where the white man learned to do that from, going in what he calls colonizing societies, primitive societies. We did that first. We the ones that colonized primitive societies first. In ancient Egypt and Sumeria, we went to the primitive places and took them over. You understand? We went and took them over and set up our governments there. That's nothing new. The white man, he just copied what we did. We was the first colonizers, the first governments on earth. But he don't want you to know that, because then if you start thinking like that again, then that's gonna re-spark something in you. It's gonna make you look at things. And it's going to make you look at your situation and how you are here in this society, lost in this society. Because right now, even the so-called black man and black woman, you have a tribal mentality. You have a tribal mentality in this society. And the white man wants you to keep a tribal mentality. The elites, they want you, I'm not saying the low-level white people, but I'm saying the elites. They want you to keep a tribal mentality amongst each other. Why do you think they released that movie Black Panther? I'm a good example of what I'm talking about. Now, what did they emphasize in the movie Black Panther? What did they emphasize? Right? They showed you in the movie Black Panther, I didn't bring this out. What did they show you? They showed you in the so-called fictitious country of Wakanda, they showed you 5 tribes. They said these 5 tribes came together and they became the Wakandans. But they kept showing you all them primitive tribes, the primitive tribal people. They showed you the modern day people, the futuristic people. They showed you people with plates in their damn lip. And what did that do? That made you embrace tribalism, because you go, I'm feeling this culture over here. I'm feeling that culture over here. It was supposed to be one thing. It wasn't supposed to be these different cultures. It ain't supposed to be no different cultures. Because what did they show you in the movie? What did the different cultures and the different people who were on a different mindset in the Wakanda, what did they end up doing? They ended up doing what? Fighting each other. Chaos and confusion. So the white man did that real slick. How they did it in the script. Even though the Negroes set up here and directed and made the movie, but the white man, he had final say over the script and how certain ideas he wanted put in there. He wanted to promote tribalism. That's why you see when they was having their council, they was having the damn different tribes there and talking and whatnot. Tribalism creates confusion. They was all supposed to be on one accord. There wasn't supposed to be no tribes. All the tribal things and all the ancient cultures were supposed to be erased for one government to be set up. That's how that was supposed to go. You can't have tribes within a governmental structure. It's not going to work. You cannot have tribal setups in a governmental structure. You understand that? That's why eventually America's going to fall apart because, again, they still have a tribalism mindset. I told you before, oh, this state over here got this law. This state over here got that law. You could do this over here, but you can't do that over here. We got our police force over here, or your police force over here. You could leave the union, or you could stand in. That's tribalism. There's always the potential for chaos and confusion in a state of differences. When you have differences like that, there's in that tribal mentality, and people got different ideas, people got different different beliefs, different this, that, and the third. It's always going to cause chaos and confusion. That's why I said when you Negroes are sitting up here talking this nonsense, you in the so-called fake black community, you start talking about, oh, we not all one monolithic society, as if that's something to be proud of. Y'all supposed to be one monolithic society. You're supposed to be one mind, one body, and one soul of people thinking, following the same thing, looking the same way. You're supposed to do that. You see how the so-called Jews move, the Hasidic Jews and all of them? The men all look the same. The women all look the same. But in that, and a lot of y'all say, well, damn, why they all look the same? I could never do that. Why not? Why not? Because your willingness to do that means that you have sacrificed the individual self. The ability to wear the same clothes, wear the same uniform, wear the same all that means you have sacrificed that mindset of individuality. You understand? You have sacrificed that. And a lot of y'all couldn't see that. Oh, I gotta be my side. I gotta be my own God. I gotta be my own. That, and again, that's tribalism. That's tribalism. You understand that? That's tribalism. I gotta do what I want to do. There's nothing wrong with having ideas and expressing yourself through your own individual creativity, but you're supposed to be part of the body. You're not supposed to be working against the order. See, that's why the so-called Jews are strong, because, like I said, they make sure they all look the same. They look the same. They worship the same God. They do all the same. They are more of a governmental setup within these so-called Jewish communities than the so-called white man in this society here. They got more of a governmental setup. And that's how it's supposed to be. That's literally how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to sacrifice your individuality, because if you don't, you're going to create tribalism. You understand that? You're going to create tribalism. America is still a tribal society. The whole planet is still tribal. You understand? As much as they're trying to keep governments over the tribal, the only reason there's governments over this whole tribal thing is because the elites, the Illuminati, is keeping the governments over there. And these governments are being held together by the Illuminati. And the Illuminati hold them together because they control the money system, the banking system. But trust me, if they did not have the International Monetary Fund that the elites and the Illuminati put together, there would be no governments. There'd be straight tribalism. They wouldn't call it tribalism, but it would be tribalism. And tribalism brings chaos and confusion. The elites are the only ones that are holding these governments together through the money system. That's it. That's how they hold it together. Because trust me, all these people, you got these different people in these militia groups and these Caucasian militia groups in different states and whatnot. They want to succeed. They want to secede from the Union so bad. They don't want to be part of America. They want to go back into that whole Confederate thing, man. They really want to do that. They want to go back into being tribal people. They want to go back to putting you so-called black people in slavery again. They want to do. They do that in a heartbeat. They would do that. They'd be going back to lynching you out of trees. They really want to do that. The only thing that's stopping them is the governmental setup. That's the only thing stopping them. And like I said, they want to go back into the tribalism. They want to be their own separate states. You understand? They're not supposed to. That's not even supposed to be. That's not even supposed to be the type of setup this is. That's why you, and again, you still got the elites that's trying to hold the country together, but then you got a faction here in this country that wants to go. They want the states to do their own thing. They arguing more for states' rights, more for state rights, because what that really means is they don't really want to follow federal law and federal government. They don't want to follow that. And again, the only reason why they follow federal government guidelines and things like that is because who funds the states? The government. And who is the government? The Illuminati. That's the government. That's the government. You want to get your government lesson today? Your real government lesson? You listen to MENTELLECT Radio. This is the setup. This is how they set it up. You don't even understand that. You civics people, you social studies people, you don't understand how this thing runs. You political people, you really don't understand how this thing runs. The Illuminati is the ones, the elites are the ones that keep these governments together by funding them. You get federal funding to your states because they know if they don't follow federal guidelines. In other words, if you don't do what we tell you to do under the Confederation, we're going to stop your money. Stop your money. And next is we're going to send in the National Guard, the troops. We'll send in the National Guard, the troops, and we'll be and we're going to take hold of your cities and of your states. We're going to take hold of them. And we're gonna lock up, and we're gonna lock up your mayors, your governors, and all the people who think they got control over this thing. We're gonna lock them up. That's how the Illuminati and the federal government getting down, because they are hell bent on keeping this order together, this government together, because they know united we stand, divided we fall. They know that. They know if they allow them states, that whole state thing to go through, that tribal thing to go through. They know if they allow these tribal factions within the governments that they hold in control over to go through, then it's going to be chaos and confusion. They know that. If they allow people to print their own money or set their own money standard, they know it's going to be chaos and confusion. They know it. And it is going to be chaos and confusion. It is. You understand? But they don't have it all the way where they want it yet. They don't have it to where it's a governmental planet yet. They holding it through the money system, but they don't have it like that yet. They're trying to push it into that more and more. That's why they use America to invade other countries, because they use America as a battering ram to go into these other societies to set up the governmental structure. You understand? That's why they do that. They do that to set up the governmental structure. See? It's not hard to figure out if you really understand this, and you think with a mindset of power. See, you got to understand power, and the only way to understand power is to think like the powerful people. See, you niggas, y'all don't think like the powerful people. You think like slaves. That's why you don't understand. That's why when we gonna get our reparations? Why we gotta come together? I don't understand why we gotta be together. We ain't one monolith. We African American. We black power. The white man is the devil. Duh, 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 duh. Spoken like true slaves in 2018, a bunch of sorry ass slaves. Power has to understand power before you come into power. You have to understand it, and y'all don't get it. You don't get it. In order for you to usurp power, usurp authority, you have to understand the current authority that's in place now. You don't get it. And y'all never get it. You'll never get it. Especially you so-called religious people. You'll never get it, especially you so-called Israelites. Y'all don't get it. You understand that? Y'all still in that two-dimensional mindset. Y'all still possessed by possessions. You want the possessions, which is a tribal mentality. You still want the possessions. Oh, when the Most High come back and put the world in our hand, we're going to be under the Most High, Yahweh Shai. We're going to get all the gold and the riches, and we're going to get all this, that, and the third. You still got that tribal mentality, that primitive tribal mentality. You still got it. You still got that primitive tribal mentality. This is why no power is going to be put in your hands. None. This is exactly why. Y'all don't get it yet. But see, the elect are going to get it. You understand? The elect are going to get it. They will understand it. They will ultrastand it. and then they will supersede. And Amen will start making connection with them again once you understand what is being put forth through Mentellect. Amen will start connecting with you to fulfill that prophecy of the elect coming into power. Amen will start to supersede that and make connection with the elect. Once they understand the current power structure, once they understand or understand the need for coming together, and they get all the foolish Negroes out of the way. You understand that? Who don't get it? Who still want to sit around and be their own gods and talk this foolishness? You understand? The ones with the childlike mentality, they got to be pushed aside. And we have to think as adults. We have to think as the so-called white man in them who are the current adults on the planet. You understand? We coming into adulthood again. The only way we're going to come into adulthood and to come into a governmental mindset and into a governmental planet and be the shield and be the receivers and be the vessels of Amen is by having that governmental mindset. One world, one planet, one Lord, Amen. One language, mentality. One flag. One order. One law. That's it. For the whole planet. That's where we're supposed to be moving. I'm going to take a call. 347.
Even Nuben. When the planet is in the hands of the elect, let's be real. What's gonna what do you think is gonna happen to the Africans? Because the white man is trying to mix their seed with them, but I just realized that they're the fastest growing population on the planet right now. So do you see them becoming that military force again, or do you see getting wiped out by war, or what do you think is going to happen to them?
Well, the white man's trying to wipe them out right now, and through race mixing, through poisoning them. That's what the Georgia Guidestone is about. That's what all these so-called vaccinations in their country supposedly giving them water, digging wells and whatnot. That all those wells and all this it's nothing but stuff in the water to make them sterile so they won't keep reproducing. They're killing off them people. So you ain't got to worry about that,
I'm really asking you because it don't seem like that's working. It's gonna work over time. But the ones, it probably will. It will get restored to where they're supposed to be in order. But right now, a lot of them still got that tribal mentality. But they're going to be reshaped. A lot of them going to be reshaped through this message. A lot of them going to be reshaped through this message. They're going to hear Mentellect. A lot of them going to receive that transmission coming directly from Amen through Mentellect, and a lot of them are going to get back in that mindset. And they're going to be looking at and becoming part of this this governmental, this one governmental society. Yeah, so they would become like that force again. Because the type of shit they doing to the white man down in South Africa and places like that, I don't really see them mixing with them. So they're going to have to switch from that tribalism or get wiped out either way. But
yeah, well, you got Negroes down there. You got them. These Negroes down there from America. They're going to live down there, and they basically going down there as implants of the so-called white man to spread all kinds of things. Of that poisoned mentality. So
yeah, that's right. That's true. Thank you, Omen.
All right. Let's take another call. 716.
Good evening, Brother Nuben.
Good evening.
I had a question about just governmental and the uniting as a community and building forward. Now, when we talk about the tribalism, that's just like ending like all of the 12 tribes and all of this nonsense, and then just coming into that one tribe, one government with intellect to go forward, and then put away the differences of tribes, because all that causes is chaos and confusion, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, I did my part to help with this process and address these Illuminati and so on and so forth, building and trying to get into the Republic, so I can go ahead and fulfill my prophecy and do my duty and do my part to speed this thing up and put us back forth in power and fulfill prophecy and to go forward. as one government and one world and one structure
let me
and
let me
one
let me let
unity.
me let me let me let me let me ask something, brother. You calling from
Yes,
Buffalo, right?
Buffalo. Correct. It's me. Yes, it's me.
You sent in your application?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I sent them paperwork. I sent them
Yeah,
a copy of the paperwork.
okay. Well, I'm gonna have to
And
tell
I
you right
also,
now. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. We're gonna send back your paperwork because we didn't ask you for that. We
okay,
didn't ask you
okay,
for that. You were told to do one thing, and that's instruction. And you send all kind of unnecessary things. So all that stuff will be coming back to you, and we're gonna have to reject you. All right.
okay. Fair enough.
All right. Goodbye. We're gonna play some music, and we shall be right. I'll be in Detroit. I'll be in Detroit May 6th. Those of you who want to come out in the Detroit area, I will be in Detroit. All right. And on Friday, I'll say exactly where because I don't have the information in front of me. But I will be in Detroit on May 6th. Those of you who want to come out to our Supreme Mind Tour conference that we're having out there. I've been going around. I'm going to make my way around the country gradually. I will be in the UK sometime in September. So look out for this. We coming. All right. Um, Also, I'll be here in Brooklyn, New York at the end of the month. We're doing our usual Supermen, Superwomen project projection, which will be Sunday, April 28th, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. on the first floor at 1368 Fulton Street here in Brooklyn, New York, the Bed-Stuy Restoration Plaza. We'll be on the first floor, in our usual place. Okay? Um, and I wanted to say that being that we heading toward this society, heading toward this government, this is the reason why, um, Lincoln and all these presidents are um, given these positions and these posts. They're given these positions and posts, right? And like I said, the presidents were always selected and put in power. They were never elected by the people. They were selected because presidents of countries, they have to follow the bottom line, which is to follow the governmental setup or the structure, right? Basically, like a corporation. A corporation has, aka cooperation. Cooperation is another word for cooperation. A corporation or a cooperation, where parties, um, where you have groups of people who basically agree to work along with each other in unison to produce a certain effect. That's what your governments are. They are selected, and you have to have presidents. You have to have presidents in agreement with the corporate order, aka the governmental policy. That's why they call politics because politics is another word for policy. And you have police, aka policy officers, right? You have to follow the policy because they're constantly trying to instill governmental control, mind control over the people to act as one unimental force. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, right? It's just that the wrong people are in power. That's the only problem. The wrong people are there. And like I said, we're not going to receive our power here on earth by the power of Amen until we learn this lesson, until we learn the true civics, the true social studies, the true governmental structure and how it's meant to be set up after the order of Amen. That's the only time we're going to be put in power. All this silly nonsense about, oh, the Lord's going to come back and we're going to get all the gold and the riches and we're going to put the white man in slavery and he's going to be in slavery for 1,000 years and all the technology going to go away and all this other nonsense. That's childlike nonsense. That's foolishness. That's the childlike mentality that I was speaking about last night. People who are possessed with a childlike mentality. No, it don't work like that. You're supposed to be possessed by the power of Amen. We're supposed to be possessed by the power of Amen. And what does Amen require of those vessels? Amen require of his vessels because the elect are the vessels of Amen. What does Amen require? Amen requires that we have an understanding of what it takes to be placed in power. Because I told you before, there is no in between. It's either power or perish. It's either going to be power or perish. You understand that? And those of you who have that silly two-dimensional tribal mindset are going to perish. You're going to perish. It's not going to be no in between. Ain't going to be no, oh well, we still going to be the tribes, and no. It's not going to go that way. That's not how it was meant to be. Everything is actually coming into what it was supposed to be. That everything is coming into what it was supposed to be. See, when our people were in power, we had the one thing that the humans don't have. We had the one thing that the humans didn't have, and that's free will. See, the humans don't really have free will. They're following the orders of Amen. You might not like the way they carry it out, but they don't really have the free will. They're doing what Amen commands them to do. We had the free will, which was to, and what we used our free will for when we were in power was to go against Amen, to break our connection with Amen. That's what we used our free will to do. You understand? And because we used that free will, which basically opened us up to unlimited power, because when you're opened up to unlimited power, you have to have the free will to choose it, and you have to have the right mindset to choose it or to choose otherwise. We chose otherwise, and because we had the freedom to make the choice, we had what you call free will, and we chose not to follow Amen. Amen took the freedom away from us and put us into bondage under the white man. He put us into a bondage under the beast. And now we have to follow Amen through the beast. We have to follow Amen through the beast, when we're supposed to have direct power and direct connection to Amen. And we're not going to get that until we understand these lessons that are being taught, until we come together collectively. If that's not going to happen, then you can forget it. It's about perish then. The first thing that's going to be destroyed is the mind, and then the body. Or I should say the mind, the spirit, and the body. Yeah. I can't say soul, because those who are not following obviously don't lost their souls. They don't lost their soul connection to Amen, their solar connection. They lost it. Because again, this order has to be set up in the name of Amen. It has to be set up. Right? It has to be set up. This incomplete society, which is again why the white man, if you notice, he always shows you his incomplete kingdom. On the dollar bill, he shows you a pyramid with no capstone on it, but then he shows you the eye of Amen, right? He shows you the eye of the Lord in the pyramid over his unfinished society. Why did he show you an unfinished society? Because it was not destined for him to finish off or complete the society. It was not destined for him to do that. It was not destined for him to finish off or complete the society, which meant he would not be in power forever. And that time is coming to an end. As soon as the elect are being geared up and charged up to understand and have an understanding of this governmental structure which must take place, this planetary order that must take place, Am is going to execute the foundation, construction of that order through them. That's how it's going to go. People can say, oh, yeah, okay, whatever, black and white, the white man ain't going to let that happen, all that. Again, you Negroes who talk like that, the white man is your God, and he is your devil. And this conversation is not for you. You are not of Amen. You are not of the Lord. The white man is your God, and he is your devil. He is the God and the devil of the three-dimensional world, and you are his servants. You are his servants. So this conversation is not for you. We answer to a higher authority. We answer to a higher authority beyond man. That is something you all could never have an understanding of. Right? When you have this understanding, when you answer to that higher authority, you have a greater understanding of this. When you are of the elect, you have a greater understanding of this. This is why I say when people come into the Republic of Mentellect, you have to be ready to alter yourself. You have to be ready to break and disconnect from that individual mindset to become a collective body of personified beings after the power and the order of Amen. You have to be ready to do that. If that's not your mentality, if you come in here, I'm my own God, I want to do my own thing, I ain't listening to nobody, you're not going to last here, and that means that would show that you're not really of Amen. You are of the beast. He is your God, and he is your devil, and you are a tribal person. You are a tribal person. The tribal people are not the chosen people of the Lord. Tribal people are not the chosen people of the Lord Amen. They are the believers and the followers of God and the fearers of the devil, who really is the white man. The white man is their God. The white man is their devil in this tribal state of confusion. He is their God and devil. You understand that? And like I said, for those who don't understand that, those who don't get that, you need to stop listening to Mentellect Radio. This is not for you. I told you all before, I cannot, and I cannot explain the simplest things to simple-minded people. I can't explain what I consider to be the simplest things to simple-minded people. You understand? I can't do that. You know? So, again, Amen is extending and expanding the power of the elect in this day and time as they're coming together from all four corners of the earth. This is truly going to become a planet of the Amen. Ain't no goddamn planet of the apes. This is going to be the planet of the Amen again through us. Even though it was always Amen's planet, but Amen's going to make his presence physically, Amen's going to make his presence, his physical presence on earth through the elect. Amen's going to make his physical presence on earth through the elect. Ain't going to be no damn planet of the apes. It's going to be the planet of Amen. You understand that? That's coming. And ain't nothing nobody can do about it. Nothing. How you going to fight with the Creator? How you going to fight with the Amen being? You can't. They want one world, one planet, I should say. One planet, and they want their physical presence here on earth through the elect. They want us as the vessels, but we have to have our minds right in order to receive that transmission. We have to be in alignment. We have to be in agreement. You understand? We have to be in alignment. We have to be in agreement. That's the only way that power is going to come directly from Amen. If that's not the mindset, then you know what? Perish. 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 There's nothing to talk about. The Amen being ain't going to make no deals with no tribal people. See, that's why the white man, he keeps trying to reestablish and keep the order together, because he knows if he don't keep the order together, the governmental structure that he's trying to keep together, he knows that he's going to perish. He knows that he's going to eventually fall out of power and lose his control over the monetary systems. People are going to, they're going to usurp, and they're going to, it's going to be overrun. Things are going to get overrun if he don't keep this order. And he's trying to keep the order right now. He's trying. Right? He's trying with every ounce of his being, But things are going to be extended. Let me take a call. 773.
Hey, peace, family.
How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. I want to start off saying that it's a pleasure to talk to you again. I had talked to you a few months ago. So my name is Eric. I'm from Chicago, and I listen to you, all the time. I drive a truck, so I have a lot of time, to check you out. But a lot of things you say resonate with me. And like you talk about this oneness, this togetherness. I understand that. And when I talk to certain people about like sacrifices, it makes me upset. But when I ask you about sacrifice, people is not willing to sacrifice anything. So I'll be like, how we gonna come together if we don't sacrifice it? So they turn around and ask me, like, why are you willing to sacrifice? I'm willing to sacrifice everything, even myself. I had no problem sacrificing myself for a bigger cause, for a bigger purpose. I want to ask you a couple questions. I wrote the questions down, like I sometimes be forgetting things. I want to ask you, like how important you think is awareness or consciousness? Because I feel like it's like levels to it. If you let me explain for a minute, when I first started getting information, it totally changed me, man. It was one point in time I woke up, I'm talking about every day upset. Well, I was upset with these people. I knew that that the white man had us in slavery, but I didn't know how deep the rabbit hole went. So I woke up every morning upset, wondering how can I help my people? How can I change the world? Then, as months went on, I realized I can only change myself. I have to start with self. If nothing I can change, I can only focus on myself. So, my question to you is, how important do you think awareness is, and or consciousness?
Consciousness of what?
Of what's going on in the world today.
Black people don't know what's going on in the world today. They have no idea. Not a clue.
So you feel like it's not important, to be aware of certain things.
Like what? The only thing that's people being made aware of, the only true knowledge that's coming on the planet, the only true intelligence is MENTELLECT, brother. All this other BS that these niggas are spouting about Africa, it shows you just how simple-minded niggas are. Here it is, the white man comes up, you got a whole bunch of these conscious, aware niggas sitting up here talking about Wakanda. Right. They talking about Wakanda, some fictitious place that was made up in the mind of some white Jew, Stan Lee. And they talking about certain Wakandan villages here in America. You have simple-minded niggas talking like this. So black people are not aware of anything. They simple-minded. You understand? This is the mindset. You actually got people talking like this off of a damn movie.
I see that. I have seen. I check out a couple.
So all that conscious crap, all that Pan-African woke, black power, red, black, and green, RBG, BS, brother. Like I said, that's a bunch of nonsense and foolishness. That's all. And it took a white man like Stan Lee to show you his BS, because all he had to do is make up some foolish nonsense and make and Disney make a movie. And these niggas are enamored by this nonsense. They talking about coming together under Wakandan rules and doing Wakandan dances. This is the mindset of children. This is why Amin is not dealing with the majority of our people, and why the majority of the so-called black race is going to be destroyed.
Right. Okay.
Simple-minded.
To my next question. Now, I heard what you said about Africa. A whole bunch of nonsense. Like people, don't focus on that. But to my question is do you think it's important, to learn our so-called black history, about Africa, about Egypt, and to the reason I say that is if we learn something, we probably could look at the mistakes they have made and try not to make them same mistakes.
Well, listen, brother, listen. Only thing black people could do right now is stop being black and raise the vibration. They got to totally wipe out their whole mind and start again. All that trying to go backwards and worrying about what happened in Africa and Egypt, that can't help you now. It's just all that's about it. That's nothing but escapism. That's nothing but escapism. Just like this whole Wakandan garbage. That's nothing but escapism. Black people don't want to deal with reality. They don't want to deal. They don't want to grow the hell up. They don't want to deal with what's coming. So again, man, to hell with the black race, man. To hell with the majority of the black race, man. And the hell with their black consciousness, man. The hell with their black consciousness.
Okay.
You understand? The hell with them.
It's something else I want to speak to you about. About a week and a half ago, I was on a road and I had to take my break for 10 hours. And I was laying down on my truck, right, and I was like half asleep, half woke, and I heard this loud ringing up in my ear. So I'm like, man, where does this ringing come from? And then it got louder, right? So I'm really not understanding where this ringing come from. So I wake up, the next morning, start my truck. I turn you on, and here you is talking about this ringing in my ear. Was crazy. It's like I heard this ringing in my ear, and then I wake up and you were talking about this ringing. And now since I've been aware of this ringing in my ear, it seems like it's always there now, and it seems to get louder when I'm laying down alone by myself. And sometimes when I'm driving, I still can hear this ringing. And
Okay.
as I remember, I'm saying correctly, what you said about the ringing was it's like I kind of forgot what you had said. Some type of connection to the fourth dimension, or maybe I'm trying to pick up a signal or something though. But this ring. At first, I was scared. I was like, yeah, I was kind of scared of the ring. So I just like, you know what? Just go relax, calm down. I'm not gonna be scared of the ring. I'm just gonna see what happens. Basically, to just see what happens. But hey, it just like I say, the ringing just get louder most of the time. So when I'm alone.
Okay. Well, you work that out, brother. Keep listening for the ringing, and you'll see what happens. All right?
Okay, Newman.
Yeah. Huh?
Oh, yeah. I said, last
Okay.
question. I know what you said about the white man being in power, and I totally understand that, and I love the way, how you broke that down. I have never really heard no one break it down as well as you, right? And and I understand, them giving them power. We wasn't ready, or we lost it. But my question is that I don't know. These people was gonna be as wicked as they are, like polluting our water, polluting our air, just so many things these people is doing. My question is that Ahmed knew that these people, was gonna be wicked like this.
Sure. Of course they did. They made them. But that's what y'all brought on yourself, because y'all wanted to be the majority of the black race wanted to be simple-minded. They didn't want to do what they were supposed to do, take care of the planet, take the planet. So this is what you brought on yourself.
Okay. Okay.
The white man was only able to come into power because you so-called black people, y'all didn't want power anymore. You didn't want to be responsible. Just like today, you don't want to be responsible. You don't want power. Y'all still want to be tribal. Y'all want to do what you want to do. You want to do you, or whatever the hell that is. So that's
I,
what you
to-
got.
I totally
All right.
understand. I totally understand. All right.
All right.
All right.
Take care.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right. All right. We're gonna play a little bit of music, and we're gonna be. Let me see what I want to play. We got 25 minutes left to play a little bit of music. Y'all can call in and you know see what it is that you have for me, and I'll answer. Let me see. Uh, I wanna play something nice. My mind was on a certain thing, a certain record and whatnot. I'll play this. We'll be right back. True power and true freedom comes by way of Amen. True power and true freedom comes by way of a governmental order, a governmental structure. Right? It is the only way and the only path toward power again, because Amen wants structured planets with one government on them, not no different tribes, not no different races. Like I said, the tribal and the racial thing was thrown out of whack. Right? These people were only supposed to come here. They were only created to do work. The same way you got the Mexicans and all these other people. You notice how the white man, he brings the Mexicans over the border to do their lawns and do their landscaping and do little jobs for them and whatnot, and then he send their ass back to where they came from. That's really how the setup was supposed to be with the Amun race, meaning us and the humans. They were created to basically assist us, so we wouldn't have to do all this work. We wouldn't have to do all the work. We were supposed to be the overseers of their work and have the power and whatnot, and just just utilize them. And then after they did their work, they go right back into the caves where they belong. That's how that was supposed to really happen. You understand? They were supposed to get they little do the building and stuff like that, and like basically setting up the first labor force. Right? You had the police force, the labor force, right? And you had the governmental structure over all that. Who was the labor force? There was the humans. Who was the police force? It was what you now call the so-called Africans. Who was the governmental? the Amen being, right? That's how that was supposed to be set up. And then, this was a planetary setup. Where these humans would be dispatched into different governmental orders all over the planet to go and work, right? They would go to different sections or societies to work wherever our governmental order and structure was, right? They would go there and work, right? And some people might call that slavery, but it's just saying it's the early structure and order of a working class system. The humans were brought here to be working class people within a planetary government. That's what they were here for. That go for your whites, your so-called East Indians, your Asians, right? Because again, your East Indians are really your black race. They are really your black race within the human race, right? Your yellow race, all these other people. Like I said, these artificial beings were brought here to be the labor force within the planetary governments. This is the planet of Amen. And the planet of Amen and the order of Amen will be reestablished. It will be reestablished. Because we can't go further without this. This will not continue. This chaos and confusion will not continue. It was not meant to continue. Everything is out of order. And again, like I said, if you allow these societies to set up just and in this country where you had them trying to set up again the tribal structure here after they all agreed upon the government, where you had them trying to these different states trying to through the succession and whatnot, because you at one point you just had certain people going to different areas within America, and they would set up shop and and set up their own little state governments and stuff like that. And again, it was not supposed to be like that. So the Illuminati, and then they, like I said, they set it up to whereas, look, we're gonna put together these federal troops, and anybody and within setting these state setups try not to be part of this union. We're gonna just go and wipe them out. We're gonna kill them. We're gonna do what we got to do, and we're gonna put our own people in there. You understand? That's how that setup was supposed to go. When when Abraham Lincoln wanted to go off for the go off for the disconnect the country from the Federal Reserve, and he wanted to do the Lincoln Greenbacks and stuff like that, they had to kill him. They killed him because again he was creating a form of tribalism. He was creating a form of tribalism by creating two money systems. By doing that, again, that's a form of tribalism. It's only supposed to be one currency. All these different currencies and whatnot, it's only supposed to be one currency. One money order system. That's why, again, you see, this is why the so-called Illuminati elites, they took control of the banking systems, because they control all the currency. And everybody was kept talking about it being one world currency. That way, and they're going to eventually introduce that before they introduce this whole mark of the beast and this chip thing. They're going to introduce one currency. A currency, because they kept talking about there's a currency that will be good all over the planet. Wherever you go, you ain't going to have to change in no money for this. You ain't going to have to do none of that. It's all going to be the same. You understand? It's all going to be the same. No matter where you go, like I said, all over the planet, the currency is going to be the same. That's what it's supposed to be. Understand? And it's all supposed to be the same thing. But they having a hard time trying to get all these countries to go along with it. A lot of them are not going to be a part of the union. They're not going to be part of it. They're going to fight against it. You're going to have those opposing forces, right, that are going to spin out of control. America has a hard enough time trying to keep order within its borders and keep the states in line. Like I said, the only reason the states stay in line within the setup of the so-called government is because they get state funding, and they know if they crack out of line, they go out of line, and the money's going to stop. And if these states ever try to supposedly try to print their own money or doing that, what's going to happen is the federal government, they're going to send troops in here, and they're going to arrest everybody from the mayor to the governor and everybody that had an idea to set up their own money system here on the orders of the Illuminati. They're going to arrest everybody, put them in jail, and they're going to put their own mayors and governors and all that in place. Anything to keep the system in place, keep the order in place, keep the government in place. All that's going to come over time. Even the dispatching of the National Guard and FEMA and all them in these areas, the reason why they're doing that is because they want to show federal presence here in America. They want to show federal presence in these states to let them know that that we still control this. Even though we let y'all be in charge, we let you have governors and mayors and and basically be in charge of your own society. You still better remember that you under America. You American. This is all America. The hell with your little state flags and all that. This is really why they took down those. They took down and they doing the thing against the Confederate flag. That's really what. It ain't got nothing to do with no racial thing. I want you all to know that the thing where they, stopping people from carrying the federal flag, and I think they took down a statue of Jefferson Davis and all these other people. See, because these people and that flag is symbolic of tribalism. That flag, Jefferson Davis, and all those people who were part of the Confederate Army, right? They those people that were part of the Confederate Army, they tried to form their own confederation amongst the states, and they went against the real federation, which was the Union. They had to take all that. They wanted to take all that down in modern day because they don't never want that promotion of tribalism again within these states and within these militias. They don't want that. They don't want the promotion of that. So they're going to remove all those symbols of tribalism. Jefferson Davis and all them people that was fighting against the Union, they represent different tribes. That's the same way the Indians and so-called Africans and all them was fighting against each other, in the tribal thing. And that's what ended up happening with the Civil War. That's what happened with the Civil War. Okay? That's what happened. It's the exact same thing that happened in the Civil War. That was a war of tribalism. You understand? That was a war of pure tribalism. And again, like I said, they're going to see that again. They're going to see that in a continuation because the only ones that's going to get it right, the only ones that's going to totally get it right are the elect. The elect are going to get it right. They know it's only going to be one planetary government, one Lord being raised, one power, one movement, one society. It's not going to be no chaos and confusion. They already know it's going to be one law, one order, and anybody that ain't with the law and the order of Amen, they're going to be destroyed, man. Simple as that. They're going to be destroyed. Ain't going to be no promoting no multiple gods, we our own gods, or we got our own beliefs. All that stuff is coming to an end. That's coming to an end. Ain't going to be no multiple gods. Ain't going to be no, I believe in Allah, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem. And nah. All that's going to come down. All that's going to be destroyed, man. All that's going to come down. Trust me when I tell you. You understand that? And I'm going to use the so-called white man to take all these religions down. And really, you're seeing it right now because if you look in all these places where they was pushing all these different religions and these beliefs and these fake gods and these false gods, what does the white man do to make a mockery of these places? He pushes homosexuality and lesbianism in these places. He pushes all of that, and that's a way to demean and destroy the morality of those people because their gods are defiled, man. All those gods are coming down. You understand? Those gods are coming down, man. It's going to be one order after Amen, and that's going to be it. And anybody who ain't with it, they're going to be destroyed. They go for the black race, the white race, and every other race, which they all being destroyed anyway. They all going into the melting pot anyway. They go for the goddamn Africans and they fake idol worshiping asses. They go for everybody. The plate and the lip African niggas, all of them. That's going against Amen. All that tribal stuff going to be destroyed, man. All idols going to be destroyed. All idolatry is going to be destroyed. All rituals are going to be destroyed. In the name of Amen, by the power of Amen. Okay, call. 904.
Hey, hello?
Hello.
This is Jabril calling from Jacksonville. You can hear me?
Okay. Uh-huh.
I had a question about people having psychic abilities and within the Republic. Has that happened? Has anybody documented that before?
People have a psychic ability within the Republic?
Yeah, it's like, is anybody report like having a vision or a psychic type of thing?
Yep.
Would you be willing to explain how they what happened to them? Would you be willing to say that, like how they?
Are you in
how
the
they said it
are
happened?
you in the are you in the Republic of Mentellect?
No, sir.
Then the answer is no.
Okay, I respect that. Thank you, though.
All right. Take care. Let me go ahead and read these questions before we go. Is the Earth a governmental or tribal planet? The Earth is a tribal planet, and it has the false setup of government on it. They have not achieved the true essence of governmental control, because governmental control is planetary. It is not meant to be in sections. When you see these different governments in different sections of the planet, then that's really tribalism. They're trying to promote government, but it's supposed to be a true governmental power is all over the planet, one government all over the planet. That's how that's supposed to go. All right, so it's a tribal planet, and they front like they governmental. What is the difference between the two? Again, the governmental planet is one mental control over all the people, and that mental control is by way of Amen. That mental control is by way of Amen over the people, so that they can receive that power as a covenant, as a collective. The tribal stuff is all kinds of chaos and confusion and separation. The governmental, which is one mind control by way of the Most High, is based in law and order, and that is where the collective power comes from. The tribal is all kinds of chaos and confusion and people trying to make up their own ideas and laws, or for the real law, they're trying to come up with their own things and whatnot, and they're letting in all forms of degeneracy, which weakens the mental power and opens up for chaos and confusion. There ain't supposed to be no different languages, ain't supposed to be none of that. What is the difference? Is the earth supposed to be governmental or tribal? It's supposed to be governmental. It's supposed to be governmental. One order, one people, one language, one Lord Creator. That's it. Ain't no gods, no devils, no damn different races. Nah, that's not how this is supposed to go. That got mixed up in the chaos and confusion. Can the tribal people be under one government? They're trying to be, but it's not successful. It's not. That's why you have all this war talk going on, people fighting with each other, people beefing with each other. They was trying to create the one world order and the one world government within the United Nations. You understand? But they are unsuccessful. And then you notice they put the black man, so-called black man, Kofi Annan, at the front, because really that's who's supposed to be the head of the planetary United Nations, the so-called bronze man, aka the so-called black man. You understand that? That's who's supposed to be the head of it. And he's supposed to make direct connection with Amen and receive the power of Amen and dispatch out the orders of Amen to the rest of the people within the planetary government. That's how that's supposed to work. All right. Who will bring the future government? The Mentellians. They're Amen Bing here on Earth. They will bring the future government. And that's it. Join me Friday for the next MENTELLECT radio broadcast. We're going to close this out in the name of Amen, by the power of Amen. In Amen we trust, in Amen we think, and in Amen we continue forward forever as the Mentellians. Hail Amen, hail the Mentellians. I am the intellectual Nuben Menkares. This has been MENTELLECT Radio. Good night. I'm closing out with, let me see. Let me see what I want to close out with.
It's the Republic of Mentellect, rising out the black race to the white race, out the black race to the white race. It's the Republic of Mentellect, black race to the white race. If it's hell, Amen, then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Superman, Superwoman, that's me and you. The infinite capabilities that we